Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Purpose Department podcast. I'm so glad to have you guys back here today. So, Dad, do you want to introduce the guest?
Do
that we
I
have
want
on today?
to? I have. I've been waiting for this moment. Yes. Welcome everybody to the Purpose Department. I am Pete Campbell. Of course, my son Jaiden. He is my offspring. I am the life giver. And, so glad you guys are tuning back in. Once again, just want to encourage you guys, leave us some comments, give us a follow, subscribe, all those different things as we bring episodes to you about every single week. And but today, yeah, like Jaiden said, we've got a special guest with us. He, the list goes on and on, especially in the short time that I've gotten to know him. A good friend of mine, actually, from our previous podcast, Matt Gonzalez, actually introduced us. And so we have got none other than Will Glover himself. How are you doing, Will?
So far, so good. It's been wonderful.
Awesome. You guys, we're so excited for this episode because first off, Will's heart and the joy and his spirit that he has, that is a part of his essence of who he is, really livens up a room. And so, today we're going to be diving in a little bit more into finding more about just Will and his life, his story, and even some more important things, just some of the different things that he's done, and then what is actually continuing to drive him. And I pray that it really encourages you and challenges you as well. So,
yeah. And I'm super excited for this episode. Just Will has so many stories to tell, and just there's so much there to unpack. I actually don't have a question today.
You don't have a question? I don't have
a question. I was really thinking about it. I'm like, what kind of question could I ask the Will Glover? So, I don't know.
I am so surprised at that.
I know.
You being the young man here.
I usually have a hypothetical question for each person, and this time I failed. I'm sorry.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about Will first off, and then we'll dive into our conversation.
So, from what I've gathered and from what I've heard, he was kind of the base for an amazing group, an amazing band called the Pyramids, and they had hit songs like Penetration, Contact, and a few others. And he has He has a few singles and just an album called The Will Glover Experience, which I've actually listened to, and it's amazing. So, just how would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Should I tell you about my childhood? No.
No, we don't need to do origin story. That'll work out.
Oh my God. Yeah. That was one of the most famous. That was so much fun back then. Come on.
Yeah. No, I do. Yeah. For all of you guys who are watching and listening, you need to go ahead and go to iTunes, any of the music platforms, and type in the Will Glover Experience, and you're going to be able to find the album. He's also got a YouTube channel. We can find you on Instagram at, what is it? Just Will Glover, I believe, right? Will Glover Sings. Yes, that's it. We'll put all the stuff in the show notes and all the different things there. But Will, here's the thing. I originally am from Hawaii.
Wow.
So born and raised in Honolulu. I've been trying to get back ever since. I'm one of those guys who thinks your feet were created for sand. And so when Matt introduced us and told me about being a part of the Pyramids and you helping write songs and do all these different things, I remember back in the day watching those surf movies and surf music and all the different things, and I was like blown away because I was like, wow, I've got you here in my presence. Like, to have you here, to be able to hear you share your story, to talk about some different things, really, really blessed and privileged just to have you here. So Jaiden and I are very, very grateful just to have you as a part of the show today.
Well, like I said before, I'm thankful to be here.
Awesome.
At my age, I'm happy to do anything.
Dude, you're up and about, man. I mean,
I know.
Just to be alive.
Yeah.
So,
but with that, yeah. So tell us just a little bit, kind of some of your music experience. Like, what got you into music first off?
Well, my uncle basically got me into music by giving me that K guitar years ago, and I taught myself how to play guitar and all those things by myself because I was an only child, and it's great being an only child.
Yes, I can agree with you.
In some cases, it's good to be an only child. But then there are other cases when you have to do the ironing and do the cooking and all. It's not that much fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, but music has always been my passion. I've always wanted to be a singer. When I heard people like Ray Charles and all the different kinds of singers from my age group, we got to hear country music, rock and roll, rhythm and blues, Elvis and all those guys. So when I grew up, it was a great time of hearing 40s, 50s, and 60s music. 60s of which I was a part of.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was just great to grow up in that time period and to experience it.
Yeah. And I love when I first got to meet you, I had you come in here and I was like, all right, Will, I want to hear you sing. I want to hear you play some music. You grabbed my guitar, and next thing you know, you freaked me out because then you flipped my guitar upside down. And you were like, oh, I play actually left it. I'm like, wait, what is going on? And so I knew, you're right, so your uncle gave you the guitar.
Yeah.
And so you ended up teaching yourself, but you taught yourself reverse.
Well, I
right?
learned how to play totally upside down.
Right.
And I blow people's minds sometimes because I'll go to some gig and somebody will say, would you like to sit in? Will? And I go, oh, no, man, I don't have my guitar. And they go, well, here, just play mine. I go, okay. So I grab their guitar and I start playing it totally upside down. And they go, wow, how do you do that? I just crack up because that's the way I learned how to play guitar.
Yeah, and I loved it that day because the last time I actually had seen somebody do that was when I was in college, and I had a buddy, and of course he had gotten gifted a guitar, and that's how he learned to play it as well. And so when you started doing that, and then you started singing and different things, and like what I was telling all of our listeners and our viewers, there's something about the joy and the presence that you exude when you're doing music, and it can't help for me as a listener and being able to be a part of that, I can't help but enjoy the shift or the change that happens in the room from what you're doing. And so for me, that's why I said, like, it was truly a gift and a privilege to be able to be a part of that. And so, tell us a little bit more. So you trained yourself, taught yourself, and this was before YouTube, right? Yeah. So, I mean,
man, I'm like thinking about that right now. I'm learning guitar, and I would not survive without YouTube or like some of the apps that I have. And I'm just like, I don't know how you could teach yourself just from basics. Like,
well, you get a book.
Yeah.
Because all you had back then were books.
Paperback.
And we would just look at it, and then we would listen to the records over and over and over again. But speaking about the upside down guitar thing, Jimi Hendrix used to fool people. Everybody thought he played it like I played it, totally upside down. And like Leighton Hopkins, I think it's Leighton Hopkins, who plays it totally upside down.
Yes.
But he turned the strings around where the big string is on top and the little string's on the bottom, but the guitar is upside down. So he fooled everybody for many years, and most people still think that he plays totally upside down.
That's
to this
amazing.
day, but he doesn't.
Yeah. And I was going to say it, and part of your story, I mean, you've gotten to, playing in the 60s, doing all those different things. There was so many things that you were really on the forefront of when it came to music, right? And the creativity and the different things, and how you guys even wrote and performed your music with the Pyramids and different things like that. I mean, tell us a little bit about that experience.
I wrote a song called New York to LA. And I'm Gonna Make It was the name of the song. And the guys in the band, they liked the song, but they said it was too long. And I said, well, yeah, but it's my song. I'm trying to tell the whole story. And it's a song. It was like a 7-minute, 5 to 7 minute song. Okay. Because it had, the first part of the song was telling the story of that I was a writer. The second part of the song was the part that the manager couldn't help me because that particular kinds of music that I had didn't fit his company. So there I was. And then the long solo that I had in the song, and the guys were saying, well, you can't have a long solo like that. I said, well, why? It's my song. I can do it anyway. So anyway, after that, we never played the song because it was so long. 2 years later, Jimi Hendrix comes out with a song called Purple Haze, and the song was like forever, right?
It's like 14 minutes or something.
And I said, hey, guys, listen to the chord progression that this guy is playing. And they go, it's just like I'm going to make it. They realized that the chord progression and everything was pretty close to the doggone same thing that was in all along the Watchtower.
Okay. Wow.
And I said, so see, guys, you guys held me back. We should have put that song out. It would have been a first, you know? So anyway, I'm sorry. I was just reminiscing about what could have happened.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a vision, all of you wonderful people out there, of something that you want to do, no matter what the doggone naysayers say, do it your way. Because your way, more than likely, is the best way for you and your soul. It's what you're going to do to show how you feel about something and your emotion in a song. So a little girl comes up to me and she says, "Would you play my song for me? I wrote this song. Would you play it for me?" I said, "Well, I don't see any chords, sweetheart. But if you would just give me the melody and sing it for me, we can have some fun with it. This is in my garage." She starts singing, and I put these chords together. She had this great voice. I just hit the recorder, bam, and we just started playing. I just figured out the chords. It was a beautiful song. It was just lyrics with just the two of us. After she left, I listened to it, and I went, wow, this song could actually be something. It was her gut. You know what I'm saying? It was just her gut. It was just so pure. Yeah. So, like I said, to all you wonderful people out there that might be listening to this podcast, do it your way first. Don't take anybody's advice. Do it your way first. More than likely, that's the way that song is supposed to be done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dang, that's like, you just dropped the bomb on like everything. It's just like, hey, go do it your way first.
Yes.
Like your gut feeling is probably the best feeling that you're going to get. Like your gut feeling is probably the most accurate thing about how you want it. Like just with music or art, it's like you may have like someone else you can say like, hey, I commission you to go do this for me, or like go try to make this, but it's never going to be what your original vision was. I really like that.
Yeah. And I think right when you're in that creative space, there's so much that is happening, and there's so much that is, especially in music, that's being communicated, not just through lyrics, but also through the melodies, through the chord progressions, and not even just the chord progressions. Then you add in the rhythm and the percussions and the beats per minute and all these different things. And you start thinking that when you're writing and creating music, there's ultimately a story that's coming about from that. There's feelings, there's emotion and memories and all these things that are attached to it, that you, as being the originator or being the author of that particular piece, no one's going to understand it more than you. And I think sometimes for all of us, when we're in this creative space, you know, there's nothing like having collaboration.
It's great to have collaboration, but the only thing that I dislike about collaboration is it's just it's like making a cake.
Yeah.
You can make a cake forever the way you learn how to make it in the way that you make that cake, and it's just great to you, right? Somebody else can come in the room and say, well, you know, I think you ought to add a little bit more vanilla in that cake. It's changed that cake.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
you can ask somebody else's opinion after you put it down your way. Mm-hmm. I don't mind somebody adding something to one of my songs after I put it down my way, because I can hear it my way, and I go, yeah. If that person comes in and they say, well, I think you ought to add this.
Right.
And I go, well, Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and after they leave, I go, well, that was a great idea.
Yeah.
It's not going to go on my song, though. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah.
Because I wrote this song called Please Forgive Me, My Wife.
Mm-hmm.
It was it was about a guy cheating. And when I would do concerts, these girls would send me these notes, and they say, wow, you were really mean to your wife. And so I sent them all back. No, sweetheart, it's a song. I just wrote the song. It was a song about a bunch of my friends. I've never had a wife. I've had a wife, but I've never had a wife like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's just a song. And I said, well, you know, like the thunder part of the song. I took that thunder part from a Garth Brooks song, The Thunder. I said, wow, that's going to sound great on my album. I took that thing, put it on my album. Guess what?
Yeah.
It was one of the things that made that song big because it went, and what I did was I added reverb to it and made it bigger than Garth's.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was one of those deals where you get to have a little adventure. And the other thing about writing, a lot of people put the song down and then they call Joe Blow and they say, well, what do you think? Well, in my head, when I write a song, I hear it. I hear everything that's going on in that song as I'm writing the song. I really do. I hear, no, there's a big kick here. Yeah, there's a big kick here. There's some singing over here. No vocals, no background vocals there. Yeah, I hear things. I hear cowbells. I hear all of these things in my head as I'm writing that song. But if I do it with before I put it down, if I ask somebody else's opinion, they ruin all that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they say, well, the cowbell is too loud. I'm going, well, how do you know it's too loud until you put it in the mix?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I just like to do it my way first.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it, on that particular album, by the way, the Will Glover Experience, some of those songs are long. I got a lot of flack because some of those songs are long. And I said, well, I wanted to tell the whole story.
Yeah.
So in order to tell the whole story, it's got to be long.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's like, I've been looking for a girlfriend. Everybody thought that I was talking about I wanted a girlfriend. It's just a title. I wasn't looking for a girlfriend. I was looking for a girl that's a friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's funny because here's the reality of it. You know, as the author and the originator and writing these pieces, there is you're going to get the full essence of what you're wanting to communicate. But the reality is when it comes from your mouth or it goes into a track or a recording session and all these different things, there are things that are going to be bound to be lost in translation.
Yes.
Is what I would say.
Yeah.
And so that's where I love this idea for you when you were talking about, you know, whatever you feel in your gut, you know, whatever you feel convicted about, that's your passion. That's part of the essence of who you are as a person. And I think, especially when you're in a creative space, it's very easy to feel the pressure of others' opinions or critiques or all these different things to almost kind of push you into a corner.
They squelch sometimes your feeling. And, you know, it's like when you're married and you have your wife and she's sitting there and you're driving and she'll say, well, you're going too fast. And then you go, okay, so you slow down. And then she says, well, honey, you're going too slow. It's the same thing. Somebody comes into the room when you're writing a song, it kind of hurts your whole feeling. So that's why I always write by myself. Yeah. Like I said, that one particular song, I've been looking for a girlfriend. When I'm going to do I'm going to split that song. I'm going to make it a two-parter. It's going to be two different songs, because what happens is I change that song. and I went to It's Real Country. I've been looking for a girlfriend, and I even put that little twang thing in there, Well, how about you? All that stuff like that, because it's fun, you see.
Yeah.
But on the back part of the song, I'm singing blues, Don't you feel it, baby? I'm into it, It's the same song.
Yeah.
But it's a completely different feel. It's a completely different song on that side. Yeah. So I've decided that when I re-release it, I'm cutting it, because what happens is when the second part of the song starts, it says, "Hey, I'm going to go in this bar," But the music changes. It's pump.
Yeah.
Wow, I think I'm going to go into this bar. You see, and it changes from that country deal to where it's type deal. So I'm going to split that song right there. But then it comes at the very end of that song, that part of the song comes back to the da 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 da. See, it comes right back to the country thing, so it pulls you right back into it.
Yeah, I
so
love
that's
it.
why I'm going to split it. Plus, I'm going to have 2 songs.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look forward to that, folks.
Sounds great. Can't wait.
It's like so interesting, because like you can get into your space, right? You can get into your just like that flow state where you're just writing everything and you're like thinking about everything. And I love how you said you can hear like the music, like you can hear where things go. And I mean, like, it's really interesting whenever we are creative and then someone comes and squashes that.
Yes.
Because it's like, I liked it, but now I'm going to second guess myself because so-and-so said, you know what, you should change that. And you start overthinking. You're like, maybe I should change this. Maybe I should change this. Not everyone in the world is going to like your song.
No.
Not everyone in the world is going to like the story that you write. Not everyone in the world is going to like the art that you make.
Right.
But the good part to that is there's going to be someone that likes it. So I feel like let's focus on, let's just try to change someone's life with what I write. And then if someone doesn't like it, someone doesn't like it. But like, let me do what I want to do and let me be creative in the way I want to create. And after you put it down and you release it or you like send it out, then you can ask like, hey, what did you think of it? Because you don't want to be second guessing your like brainchild. You don't want to be second guessing your creativity and your masterpiece that you created, that you put purpose into. You're like, you know what, this has a purpose for this reason and this has a purpose for this reason. We should really just look at the beauty of it, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder, not the person that comes along halfway through the journey and says, I don't like that.
Intelligent young man.
Yep, he is. He is.
Are you a bowler?
Yeah.
Do you play golf?
No, not no.
Yeah. I do think when it comes to these creative things and these ventures and writing music, when you're doing it, especially as you've invested all of those personal hours, all of that time, just you alone, there's a confidence that I would believe that begins to take shape, that really begins to develop some deep roots, right? A confidence in who you are, a confidence in the skill sets and the craft, as far as lyrical writing, as far as music and all these different things. And with that, it blows me away that, right, in reality, when we're releasing these things or we're giving now people an invitation to lend us their ear, we should be so confident just as far as like, that was our thing. And it's one to have critique, it's one to have opinions and all those types of things, but to be able to still be confident and knowing enough, like, that is my baby, that's what I've allowed myself now to be vulnerable to say, hey, here is my gift, here's the thing that I value as precious, here's this piece of art that I've made, now I want you to listen to it.
Now this is the one thing that you have to understand as an artist.
Yeah.
When you're a creator, you can't let somebody else's opinion. I mean, you can be hurt for a moment when somebody says, well, I don't like that. Well, did you write it for them? You wrote it because you like it at that moment.
Yeah.
That's what's coming out of your heart. You know, whether it's just a joke song or whether it's something serious. You know, my gospel songs are they're serious.
Yeah.
It's about heaven.
Yeah.
It's about the Lord. And so that stuff is real serious. I've been looking for a girlfriend. It's fun. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, but you can't let people stifle
Yeah.
how you feel about stuff. And just because they don't like country doesn't mean that you shouldn't write a country song.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you think about this. It's only 13 notes, right? And with those 13 notes, you can do anything. I mean, one of my I have 3 Michaels in Michaels of musicians that I like and who are singers.
Okay.
Michael Bolton, he's way up there. Michael Jocko, he's up there too. And then Michael McDonald. Now think about those 3 singers. Are you guys familiar with those guys?
A little bit, yeah.
Those guys,
Yes.
they're just great singers. Great singers, great writers.
Yeah.
I mean, when I hear a Michael Bolton song, he just takes me to a completely different place. When I'm back on my feet again. Have you ever heard that song?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I know that he's got the Bucks and he's got all kinds of stuff and everything. But think about this. What he's done with that one particular song, the arrangement and everything in it, and the different modes in that song, and how tricky he is. Most people don't realize it. They don't realize that what that guy does. Most people, when they modulate, they modulate up. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Bolton modulates down.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. When I listened to it, I went, yeah, you tricky son of a gun. But think about this. That's why he can, when he modulates down, that means he can take those notes so high.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he can do that.
Yeah.
But most people don't even think about it.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, wow, what an...
Well, because they're so stuck in the ballad of what he's singing and producing that it already has that energy there that you miss some of those
but what I'm
annotations
thinking,
of it.
What I mean is, they didn't think that he modulated down.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the concept.
Mm-hmm.
What did that give him? It gave
More
him
ceiling.
It gave him to do the higher
Registers,
notes, to go to different octaves without hurting himself.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't realize that he was tricky. He modulated down.
Yeah.
You know, they would just continue to modulate up and kill themselves.
Yeah.
But he was smart enough to come down.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, what a concept.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I'm going to have to learn how to do that. I'm still locked in the boat with the other guys.
Man, this is just so this is a meaty conversation. I feel like, you know, because you've done so much, right? Like you've experienced so much and you've gone through so much. What's like a way that, with all the fame and with all of the just stuff that happens with being like relatively famous and just how do you keep your heart in the right place, and how do you keep yourself from kind of like getting all fed up with it, or like getting all like way too like self-righteous with it?
Well, this is what happened. I used to be one of those guys. I was kind of like a priss when I was younger. Everything had to be a certain way. My hair, you know, I just did one of those things, right? That's what they do. And so I said, wow, How can you do it? That's not you. Why would you want to do that? So I stopped being a press. But my gig line has always been the same. You're going to always see the same thing on Will, no matter what. No matter if I'm country, no matter if I'm on the beach, my gig line is always the same. It's always straight. I'm like a Marine. My gig line is always the same. So the point is, I was in this bar one night, and I was just killing it. I had the audience right here in the palm of my hand. I was on a break, and I was sitting there with my bass player, and this other guy from the other show was sitting down at the table, and he says, "Man, you really do that song great." And I said, "Thanks." He said, "I'm not talking to you." Oh, whoa. I didn't get up immediately, but my heart was like going. He hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
But I went to the backstage and I went, "Wow, you must be pretty doggone heady for you to think that somebody was talking to you." I used to think, I'm sorry, when I would go into a bar or wherever I was performing, that place was mine. That's the way I used to feel. I used to feel that way, that I could get any woman in there. I could do anything. It was my domain. That's just the way I felt. And then when that guy did that night, I went home and I thought about it. I said, "You know what? Your mom would not like the fact that you're like that."
Wow.
She would want you to be the man that she raised you to be.
Dang.
That one deal changed me. And if you talk to anybody that knows me, they know that I'm this giddy guy that likes to have fun. But the one thing they're going to always say, Will is like the nicest man that I've ever met. Mm. And that's the precept that I want people to feel when I'm around them, because I want to be the man that God wants me to be. I don't want to be some heady guy. So I'm very thankful to that guy for saying that night. I got to tell you, back then, I would have punched him out if Steve hadn't been sitting at the table back then, you know. But thank God that he's changed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Will, to be honest, because it's one thing to be confident, but then it's another thing to allow a sense of pride or really to kind of have this persona of really kind of, you know, chest out, super proud. And that's the thing too, like there's nothing wrong with being proud.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But when you start to carry yourself in such a way that everyone that you come into contact with in your relationships, or even just acquaintances and people that you run across to, now you're starting to put them under your feet, or you're starting to,
I didn't put them under my feet,
no,
but
it's those internal types of things.
Yeah,
you know?
You just think that the room is mine, you know, and you just can't. Well, you can think like that. I mean, Michael Jackson, all those guys, they can think like that because the world is theirs. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Michael Jackson, though, on the other hand, was one of the nicest persons that you could possibly meet.
Yeah.
If you ever talked to anyone that knew him on a different level. Yeah. They never said anything bad about Michael Jackson. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think that's part of it, though. It's when we have to remember, when it comes to creative spaces such as music and all those different things, even as an actor or an artist or whatever it might be, those are performances.
Right.
And sometimes those require of whoever the artist would be to have a persona or to have a certain thing for that particular moment that you're setting up the scene or what you're trying to bring out of people as they're listening, as they're watching. But then the reality is what you were talking about is, you know, when people know me as Will, what kind of a person are they going to say that I am?
Right.
and to ultimately being able to go from performing and accomplishing what's needed at a gig, right, or an event or a concert, but then actually being able to almost kind of reset and get back to, all right, here's where I'm at again. Right. You know,
to be a real person,
to be an actual person. That's right. And not get lost in the identity of the performer.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And so I love you sharing that. You speaking of Michael Jackson. So the first time we met and you were sharing, yeah.
Oh, hey, wait! This is a good story. This is amazing.
You were like, yeah, I got to meet Michael Jackson, and da da da. I was like, wait a minute, Will, tell me about this story. I don't know if you could just share with us, man, because I said something that day that I thought was pretty hilarious, and I told my son about it, and so, but you brought it up.
Okay, here we go. Okay, audience, forgive me, okay? Anyway, we were recording in Hollywood at Gold Star, and we had just finished our recording, and when you're recording like that, you're up, and so I was out, and I went walking up and down the sidewalk because my heart was pumping because we had just finished recording, and this whole horde of people came in. So our drummer walks out, and this kid walks up and goes, "Hey, I have one of those." And the drummer went, "What? What do you mean?" He goes, "Yeah, I got one of those." And he slaps the chain that he had around his neck. And I'm watching that going, "What? Why would he do that?" So I walked over, and he walks over to me, which was a mistake on his part. Walks over to me, and I used to wear the swastika. I didn't even know what a swastika was. It was just a thing. We didn't make any big deal about it. He goes, "I have one of those," and he slapped my swastika. And I said, "Somebody better come and get this kid. I'm going to hurt him." I forgot the older brother of the Jackson family walked out the door, and I went, "Oh my God. Michael Jackson. I just slapped Michael Jackson."
Dude, you gave Michael Jackson his first hit, baby. That's all I got to say.
I couldn't believe it. I was so embarrassed. I walked out and I went, man, you know. And so, but Michael Jackson is one of my guys now. He's one of those guys and one of my favorite writers and performers.
Oh
but
my
there
gosh.
he was.
Yeah, when you told me that story, I couldn't believe it. Because I just couldn't believe it. I remember
he's running around and kicking stuff over and all this stuff.
He's being a kid. He's being a kid, man.
He's just a little kid.
I mean, I've got a 5-year-old now, and I can't. It's hard for me to just take him to places, and all of a sudden, his inner child just wants to go nuts, and he's all over the place. And so I completely get it. And he's disciplined. I mean, he's not crazy. For those of you who know my little guy, but he's got that energy, and he's got that adventurous spirit, and Will, for you, my friend, because you've gone down the path for a while. You've gotten to see a lot of different things. You were a part in creating things and being on the forefront of just music and seeing from where it started for you to where it is today, right? How do you keep your creativity alive? Like, what are some of the things for you that you do there?
Well, I have this goal. I've always wanted to have a hit record in my name and under my name. And so I'm pushing for that. And my goal is to do it before I die. So in order to do that, I have to keep writing. I have to keep promoting. I have to keep doing this. I have to keep doing that. No matter what the ups and downs of life is, I want the Lord to be first. But the gift that He's given me, I want to share it with the world. Yeah. That's all there is to it. And so it's like I told you about this, the story with the guy. 20 years later, he comes up and he goes, "Man, I can't believe you sung that song." It blew my mind. I just want to touch somebody's life. And I want to take them from the doldrum, from a pain that they might be feeling. It's like when I do the song "Knock on Wood." They might be just feeling bad over there. But all of a sudden, when I do knock on wood, all of a sudden they go, knock on, baby, you got to knock on wood. They go, yeah, knock on wood. No matter what they're doing, they get into that mood, right?
Yeah.
They get into that one little thing. It takes them away, no matter how drunk they are or whatever. They get into that feeling where you've taken them away from that to a heartfelt thing, to where there's a joy into it. Yeah. So that's what I always want to leave when I meet someone. I want to leave some kind of a joy with them, whether it's a smile or whether it's just, hey man, how you doing? It's a lift.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. That lift that I want to do with somebody's life, whether it's through a smile. I'm notorious for this. I love to jab, like I did for you. Yeah. I just like to do some little deal, and you go, man, that old guy, he's got to look out for him. I just like to have fun with people, and I feel if you can lift a life, whether it's with your music, with your sharing the Lord. I'm not one of those guys who always want to be passing out tracts and all that jazz. I would much rather, slap somebody on the back, say, "How you doing today, man?" Just like that. I do that, and I'm at Stainer Brothers. I'll see some old lady. She's trying to get the card out. I go, "Back up, honey," and I'll pull that deal. I say, "Oh, thank you. Oh, just give her my card." Yeah. What did that do? It wasn't a big thing, but as she's going home, I'm sorry for beating up your mic.
That's okay.
When she's going home, she might say, "That was a nice young man." I'm not, but she'll say, "Well, that was a nice one young." She might even go home and say, "You know what, Helen, I met this guy today. He was a nice young man. He just got that card for me." Do you know what I'm saying? Did it not lift it? It wasn't a big deal, right?
Yeah.
It was just doing one kindness from one person to another.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need in our nation and across the doggone world.
Yeah.
I think we just need to keep pushing that. But with my music, I go after people. No matter where it's at or whatever the venue is or what I'm doing, when that guy puts that microphone in my hand, that whoever staged that is, they better back up because I'm going to take it over. That's it. They gave me the power to grab those people. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I want to lift those people so that when I leave, they're going to go, "Wow,
yeah,
who was that?"
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Love that.
Kindness. It's like the best thing. We were talking about it earlier, and we're just like, this world needs kindness. And just the simplest acts, from holding the door open for someone or helping them with their cart or just like saying like, "Have a nice day," it can change somebody's day around miraculously. So I really think we need to be the first ones, right? We need to be the first ones to like start a kindness train. Like, we need to be the first ones to say, "You know what? I'm going to be nice today. I'm going to be kind today, and I'm going to help people, and I'm just going to try to be a light to the world." And I think that that's just so powerful. What you said is like, I'm going to grab people and try to pull them in and just say like, and just try to like leave an impression on their life. Even though they may not even talk to me, I'm just going to try
whether
to
they want it or not.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Make them smile whether they want it or not. It's hard.
Yeah. And and that's part of it, right? So you've got music, songwriting. For those of you who are watching, you might be a photographer or videographer or an artist or, whatever it might be, whatever vehicles you use. My heart and my prayer is that whatever vehicle that you use to communicate something, may it actually come up from the well of something that is built up inside of you that's a whole lot deeper. And in that, because that's what people will feel.
And just have fun with it.
Yeah, heck yeah. We got to have a lot of fun. I tell you, man, especially sometimes in different circles, people can get way too serious.
Yeah.
And there's another, and I love how you were saying, some of my songs, like I'm singing my gospel stuff, like, but in the reality, life is not meant to be boring. I think if we gave into all of our negative thoughts and all those pressures and doubts and stuff, that sucks the life out of anything.
Yeah.
And
when you look at the life of Jesus,
yeah,
was he boring?
oh heck no. Yeah,
that guy, he had a lot of fun with people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
You just don't know. I mean, even with Peter.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he used to say, "Hey, Pete, yeah, come on, man. Do you really believe what you just said, Pete? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on over here. Let's go over here and talk behind the rocks."
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm sure they had a lot of behind the rocks talks.
Oh, they had a lot of stuff, but that's part of it. It's these things are just these creative tools and things that we all get to be a part of, and what we're using, and as far as our giftings, they're windows or doors that open up into something deeper and something greater. And so well, man, I am like I said, dude, I'm appreciative that you're here and you're hanging out with us, and I know we've got some more fun things planned for later on today. But thanks for coming to the show. Thanks for being a part of our podcast. Truly, I love our conversations every time we've gotten to have one. So we'll definitely have to do it again and talk a little bit more. And like I said, for me, from one creative to another, I love how you live your life as a thermostat and not just a thermometer, where hey, I know who I am, and if I have an opportunity, I'm going to change some things. I'm going to make an impact. I'm going to make an impression, whether it's through kindness, through music, through, commanding the stage, whatever it might be. I appreciate that about you. And so I just wanted to tell you that as just to let you know. So,
yeah. And thank you so much for being here. Like, this was really fun. I enjoy listening to the stories that you have. There's just so much here to just unpack. This was really cool. Thank you so much for coming on the show with us.
I really appreciate it. I really do.
Awesome. Well, hey, so for those of you guys who've been watching, and tell us what some of the things that you love, or maybe even let us know some of the songs that Will has sung that have impacted you or how they changed you. Once again, want to encourage you guys to give him a follow on social media, follow his music, so and download the stuff online through all of your playback services and different things there. But thanks once again for joining us on the Purpose Department, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode. So take care, guys.
God bless.